got into it with Book, then got into it with DeMar. My take on that is, I've played a bunch of Europeans. They do little dirty stuff. It's a difference. See, people get mad at me and be like, oh, Draymond dirty. I told y'all, Draymond not dirty. Draymond will fuck you up. I'm not dirty. I don't do dirty things. I played for Tom Izzo, and if you did dirty things, it doesn't work. I don't do dirty things. There's not a player in the NBA that can tell you Draymond's a dirty player. Don't do it. And Europeans, though, there's a lot of Europeans that they do dirty stuff on a basketball court. And for D-Book and DeMar to get mad like that, he's doing something that we ain't see. To his credit, you got a tech on D-Book, you got DeMar thrown out. If you're going to keep doing that, you got to stay on that because people going to then start going at you. And that comes with a reputation, and that's a whole different thing. So I don't know Pelle Larsson to be that guy. However, I don't know much about Pelle Larsson. If that's who he's going to be, commit to it and stay there because guys are going to start going at you like that.
If I were to take a poll of who the dirtiest player in the NBA is, I'm pretty sure 3 players would get the majority of the votes in that poll. And I'm pretty sure Draymond Green would win, and second place would be Dillon Brooks, and third place would be Isaiah Stewart. Maybe Grayson Allen would be in there, but I don't even think Grayson Allen has really been up to those sorts of shenanigans as of late. One person who I'm pretty sure would definitely not be in there is Pelle Larsson. Yet this clown, this hypocrite, this delusional, annoying weirdo Draymond Green, I wonder if even Warriors fans are sick of him at this point. He goes on his goofy little podcast, and look, I shouldn't even be talking about this, but I would rather talk about this than that embarrassing loss to the Blazers last night, where for some reason, this is 2 games now where Warriors game, Jimmy gets hurt, and what happens? The Warriors go on a 12-0 run and beat us, and now Denny Avdia, who was killing us, he gets hurt, and we still can't close that game. So there needs to be some real serious conversations when it comes to this Miami Heat. But anyway, I'm talking about this Draymond nonsense of him being the dirtiest player in the NBA and having the audacity to say that not only is Pelle Larsson dirty, but European players in general are dirty because, God forbid they play hard and actually play defense, which he translates to as being dirty. All right, so let's break down real quick what our friend Draymond said. He said, Pelle Larsson has been in the mix a bit this past week, got into it with Booker, then got into it with DeMar. More so like Booker and DeMar got into it with Pelle, not the other way around. Anyway, my take on this is I've played a bunch of Europeans. They do little dirty stuff. There's a lot of Europeans that do dirty stuff on the basketball court. My God, isn't that rich? This is the guy who has entire compilation videos of him being dirty, and he's out here complaining about Europeans. And once again, there isn't a single European player who has a reputation of being dirtier than the aforementioned guys that I brought up before, like a Dillon Brooks, an Isaiah Stewart, or a Draymond Green. And I like those guys. I would love a guy like, well, maybe not Draymond, because Draymond's kind of over the hill, but I've said this before, I would love for Dillon Brooks or Isaiah Stewart to be on the Miami Heat. I think we could really use a guy like that. As long as they're not being stupid to the point where it's like blowing games and stuff. For D-Book and DeMar to get mad like that, he's doing something that we ain't see. Like what? Like what? Playing tough defense? Sticking it to a guy? Getting under a guy's skin? Playing hard? Pelle is not dirty. The guy has one flagrant foul his whole career, which I tried to find more details on it. I couldn't find any details on his one flagrant foul, and he's never had a technical foul. He's never been ejected. Meanwhile, Draymond has 20 flagrant fouls in his career, and he's been ejected God knows how many times. And the other thing that Draymond said was this. He said, to his credit, he got a tech on D-Book and DeMar thrown out. DeMar was thrown out because he almost decapitated Pelle Larsson, but we'll get to that. Green continued, if you're going to keep doing that, you've got to stay on that because people will start coming at you, and that comes with a reputation. Oh no. I don't know Pelle Larsson to be that guy, but if that's who he's going to be, commit and stay there because guys will start going at you like that. Do you think Pelle Larsson gives a shit If this is the guy who gets hit in the face so often, there's a whole Twitter page called Did Pelle Larsson Get Hit in the Face Last Night? And by the way, yes, he did against the Blazers. Yes, he did get hit in the face. The dude's tough as nails. You think he's going to care if Devin Booker is mad at him? What planet are you living on, bro? And then with the Devin Booker thing, that was like such a nothing little play. It was like this play where there was contact and then Pelle made a little contact and then Booker shoved him. Like that's all that happened. That's all that happened. And Booker got a tech because he shoved him a little bit. Now you get to this whole DeMar DeRozan situation. It starts with DeMar kind of like body checking Pelle Larsson, and somehow this is all Pelle's fault. I don't know. I can't find any footage anywhere of Pelle being dirty. Once again, he plays hard, plays tough defense. He's a gnat, he's a pest, and that can get under guys' skin. And some of these guys, some of these like star players with these big egos, like a DeMar DeRozan or a Devin Booker, they don't like that. They don't like when this random, handsome 24-year-old Swedish kid who looks like Heath Ledger is sticking it to him, and it makes him feel some type of way. But the funniest thing of that whole little dust-up between Bam and DeMar and Pelle Larsson is poor Davion Mitchell. Poor Davion Mitchell caught some friendly fire. Bam's arm got hit by someone else's arm, and he took like an elbow right to the nose, and he was like, you know what, I'm just going to stand here and chew my gum. And then there was another funny little clip of DeMar, I think, turned the ball over, and Pelle tried to grab the ball out of his hands. So, Pelle was definitely coming at DeMar DeRozan. Nothing wrong with that. Once again, it's not dirty to be sticking it to a guy. If he was doing something dirty, he would have been called for a flagrant or a technical or something like that. But then he gets so into DeMar's head that on that fast break, he almost took off Pelle Larsson's head. And that to me crossed the line, because that was the kind of play where you could really, really hurt someone. And he went after his head. I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't call that a flagrant 2. They only called it a flagrant 1. And Pelle, man, he popped right up and got in DeMar's face. And then DeMar said, do something. And I'm glad Pelle didn't do anything. But there is a part of me where I wish Pelle, cracked him in the face. I do. Because if you have a guy that swings at your head and basically clotheslines your head, that could potentially hurt your neck. And then you get up and confront him and he says, do something. Whew, man, that's a lot of emotional control on Pelle's behalf to not have done something. And I'm glad he didn't, because I don't want Pelle to get suspended. But man, and it's just a bad look on DeMar, because you're a 36-year-old vet and you're letting this 24-year-old Swedish kid make you have this emotional meltdown. But I think the whole DeMar stuff, I think it goes way deeper than Pelle Larsson. I think DeMar is kind of at a place in his career where he's frustrated. I think he's, he knows he's 36. He's in the twilight of his career. He knows he's probably never going to win a championship, or at least not lead a team to a championship. He's stuck on this miserable Sacramento Kings team, and they're going absolutely nowhere. When this happened against Pelle Larsson, they were, it was the fourth quarter, and they were down by a bunch of points, clearly losing that game at home. So, I think he's just in a very frustrated place to begin with, and then when you have this 24-year-old Swedish kid getting under your skin, it just makes all these frustrations kind of boil to the surface. Another thing that I find absolutely fascinating about this whole scenario between Pelle Larsson and DeMar DeRozan is that I've always thought that Pelle Larsson has a striking resemblance to the late Heath Ledger, and DeMar DeRozan has a tattoo of Heath Ledger on his arm. Now, of course, it's the Joker, but we all know that the Joker was played by the late, great Heath Ledger. So basically, DeMar DeRozan has a picture of Heath Ledger's face tattooed on his arm. And it's, I don't know, dare I say, Freudian? Perhaps Jungian? Maybe Freudian. I don't know. That the guy that DeMar has tattooed on his arm looks like the guy that triggered him into an emotional meltdown. So perhaps Freud would say that DeMar is sexually attracted to Pelle Larsson. Have a good weekend, everybody. Miami Heat stink, and Draymond Green is an idiot. Goodbye.
I didn't say nothing. I didn't start nothing. All I said was the same that he said. All I said was what he said to me back to him.